Hello everybody and welcome to a new stream. Long time no seen. I'm trying now to set this chat, which is giving me some issues, but okay, I think I managed. So today I am going to play for you some NL25 Zoom. We are playing on the Italian pool, which is quite narrow, and that's why NL25 Zoom is basically the highest we started right now. I think though that Zoom is more entertaining to watch, and that's why we are going with that. Okay, I'll keep the chat here and let's start playing. When I was setting up the tables, I ran pretty well and I won more than one stack. Nice hands, maybe we'll see them later. On table 1, I am going to open with 7-8 off on the button. Table 2, we have clearly pretty soft table. We have a couple of limps, which I think are recreationals, and one other raised. Only 13 blinds, not bad. King 3 off, we are gonna fold. 9-6 off suite, we are probably gonna fold as well. Ace Queen. Ace Queen suited, we are going to 3-bet if somebody else opens. And we are gonna do that. We are this stack with the guy who raised, and so I would definitely call the 4-bet with a hand which such a high nut potential. Return suited, we fold. Queen 10 off. It's normally a fold, but given the table, which is super soft apart from the button, I don't mind opening anyway. Let's hope he folds, so we can play with the blinds. That would be nice. Even if they fold, even if they all fold, that's sweet. With Queen 10 off. You will see me deviating quite a bit from GTO. I will play more loose aggressive than GTO is, because I think at these stakes that's what pays off. And I'm gonna 3-bet on table 1 with Ace King versus somebody who is basically a maniac. This guy spewed a lot in a lot of random ways, so it's gonna be very nice if he gives us action. He does give us action. The flop is not nice. I'm not gonna c-bet versus a guy like this because he's going to check raise with a lot of hands which we don't want him to check raise with. So I'm gonna check back. Use of diamonds. Let's see what he does. I would say sometimes we're going to bluff catch this guy. Definitely now on the turn, and if it is a blank card, I think we might and probably want to bluff catch this guy. Pretty cheap to call and a lot of bust throws, and he's really doing random stuff. Unluckily, we are going to pay his some of his value bets, but I don't think he's folding if you raise, so I don't see any point in raising that. On table 2, we are gonna raise with Ace Queen, and we get a call from a recreational player. We are going to c-bet on the flop. We have decent blockers to fire now and even later. If he raises, we are gonna fold. Can't do much versus a recreational. Table 1, we do open. Turn is a 10. I mean, I don't mind sometimes being aggressive again with versus a recreational. He's gonna have some floats on this flop that might fold on the turn. With the queen we block some of them, king queen, queen jack, stuff like this. On table 1 we have this flop. We open from the cutoff, big blind call. He's a regular. I think we're c-betting this board at a somewhat high frequency. I'm gonna bet and bet call with this blocker. Once he check calls, we may sometimes turn this hand into a bluff. It's very difficult for him to have something very, very strong, especially when you have a 10, so I don't mind being overly aggressive in a situation like this. And he folds, which is sweet, obviously. On table 2, we are gonna raise with 10-8 suited. And we get a call from this button who is a recreational. We have pure air. I think I'm just gonna check. Maybe I'm gonna bluff if he checks back on the turn. On this turn, we are not bluffing, but we're value betting if we bet, and I think is something we should definitely do versus a recreational player. So that's what I do. He folded, that's fine. On table 1, instead, we are again versus a recreational, and we are gonna bet big on this flop with top 2 pair. King jack, we do open on table 2 from. I hope guys I'm reading the chat, I'm not sure, and I just set OBS for streaming and I'm used with Streamlabs with my other channel, so I hope that OBS is gonna work fine. Not a nice flop. I feel like this guy's gonna have a lot of check calls, so I'm gonna check back on the flop. Maybe we'll start bluffing in the turn if he checks again. Once he bets, I don't think we can call profitably here. Not a hand to call a squeeze with here, and we are just gonna fold ace queen off to the squeeze, the huge squeeze of a recreational player. Queen 7 off, might call versus the small blind, or maybe even the button if he's a bad player. King 3 off, it's probably gonna be a fold. And let's see Jack 8 suited on table 2. We are probably gonna raise. Even versus a limp, I don't mind raising and trying to isolate myself, because his limp calling range is going to be quite weak. Of course, the big blind could sometimes exploit us by raising aggressively, but I don't think he's gonna do that much. That's a nice flop, and we are just going to bet big. We need protection, we can get value. No reason not to bet big. Table 1, I will try to take a stab here on this board. I feel like if he really has nothing, he's gonna fold a lot, but this time he raises, so that's pretty much it on table 1. We do raise with King 8 suited, and the flop, nothing basically. Sometimes I would bet, sometimes I would check. This time we go for a bet. If he continues with this hand, we're probably done. He raises. No issues in folding air. 5-4, we fold. 10-7 off, we fold. Jack 5 suited. Might be an open if everybody else folds. Okay, they do. And so we do open from the small blind. I would just fold if he 3-bets. King 10 off. It is a fold on the button. I suggest you play a 3-bet or fold approach at these stakes. King 9 suited, we open on table 1. And let's see if we get some action here. Okay, we are gonna take a stab. Table 2, unluckily with queens. We don't do much. Not taking the blinds, but we have queens again on table 1. See if we can get some value from them. Already folds up to the small blind, even he folds. Too bad. King Jack. I don't mind 3-betting in position versus a recreational player. I feel like he's going to call with a lot of dominated hands. And I'm gonna take a stab on this board for sure. We're gonna have at least 2 streets of value, maybe more. Again, versus a recreational, I think we can bet safely here. Checking back is an option also with the Jack of Spades, especially because we block some of his calling hands, and we have only one pot size bet, something more than that. So yeah, I don't mind checking here, totally, it's fine. We keep his range a bit wider, and on the river, once he checks, I think we should just bet for value, probably something like 40, stuff like this. Could also shove, to be honest. There are so many busted draws that he may be willing to call with ace queen and stuff like this, so just gonna shove this time. Anyway, if he has a busted draw, he's not gonna call any size. If he has a bluff catcher, he may be tempted to bluff catch, given that not a single draw got there. But he folded, so that's fine. Pocket queens again. Oh my god, that's the end of the session. We do open on table 1, and let's see what they do. Okay, everybody folds. No plenty. We are not gonna get paired today with queens. Nope. Nope. Queen 3. Guys, I'm sorry if you're typing and I'm not answering. Just don't, if you type and I don't answer, it's because I don't see the chat. Nothing personal. Pocket kings on table 1. That's a sweet hand, especially when a recreational player opens, and we are going to place a 3-bet here. See what he does. We are not folding, obviously. I wouldn't be happy to get it in 150x versus a recreational, but still I would do that. I'm a bit more happy to see this flop. We blocked the top set, the top pair, but at the same time there are so many draws here that I prefer to bet than to check versus a guy like this. So we bet big. He folds, probably he had really nothing. Given how quickly he folded on table 2, we check on the flop, he checks back. I think I'm gonna bluff this. Probably 2 big bets are gonna do the job. Unless of course he is trapping or doing something weird. Table 1, we are going to 3-bet with king 10 suited. This guy is an aggressive player. I would have called a 4-bet in that situation. And we had the queen 9 suited on table 2. We do open on the small blind. Cut off. I don't know why I said small blind. I don't know why I was thinking about the small blind. Let me see if I'm online actually, because that's also something which would be interesting if I am speaking to myself. No, I am live. Okay, it's working. Ooh, nice. Table 1. I am going to c-bet this board. Okay. King 4 off. It's gonna be a fold. And 10-8 suited. 10-8 suited, it is going to be a fold in this situation, while a queen jack off might 3-bet sometimes versus some players. I'm not gonna 3-bet as a standard versus a UTG regular. Table 2, okay. Table 1, 5-8 offsuit, we let it go. As well as queen 10 off from UTG. We have now 3-4 suited that we fold, as well as jack 8. 9-10 off. Fold. We might open this one instead. Yep. Tables are super soft. You will see me opening wider and sometimes even 3x. Okay, the big blind calls. It's not the kind of flop where I want to go crazy versus a recreational on the flop. Might bluff the turn. Yeah, I'm gonna try it here. I don't think I'm gonna bluff a lot of rivers. No need. 9-3 off is a fold, king 4 off. It is also a fold. Four, 6 off suit. King 10 suited. We're going to 3-bet this hand at a decent frequency. We have a limp, so we are going to raise. Big blind is thinking about it. Wouldn't be happy to see him 3-betting. We are quite deep though. And he's probably not a good player. Table 2 we have king jack off and we do open and we flop this nice board. I would say versus a recreational player we should definitely bet for value. He is gonna call with a lot of gut shots and open-ended draws, so I'm gonna bet something like this. It's gonna have a lot of hands they shouldn't have really. The queen is a good card because now we can value bet in a lighter mood. And you know, I think I'm gonna thin value bet even the river versus a guy like this because we beat some hands also. I think I'm gonna make a value bet here. He has his queen. It was quite thin, but I think it's still worth versus a recreational player. Table 1, we have pocket nines and we c-bet. We have now ace queen and we are gonna open from the middle position. Ace queen as well on table 2, let's see. Thinking about it, our opponent. check it off. We do fold. A6. I'm gonna play with this guy out of position with a hand like this. We do open on table 1 with king 10 off. We got a cold call from the guy on my left, who I honestly don't know what kind of player he is. I would say check raise sometimes here is an option. We have decent blockers, and we're gonna have decent blockers for later in the hand. I'm probably gonna bluff this one, given the blockers we have. And I'm gonna value bet now this one. Something like this. Hi, live as one. Why open 3x? I do not normally open 3x. I open 3x if there is a recreational player on the big blind, because I want to build a bigger pot when it is likely I'm going to play with him in position. Okay, this was a limpet pot. I feel like we might want to try to win this right now. He's gonna call if he has any draw, but when he has nothing, he's gonna fold, and that's quite nice for us. On table 1, I'm gonna check and probably call if this guy bets small. Even a half pot bet, I think I have to call. Okay, we're gonna check, bluff some reverse for sure. I would definitely bluff this one, and I think we can also overbet because we have quite some group of decent hands here to represent. And he folds, which is sweet, of course. On table 2, king 7 offsuit is a hand which I would normally fold, but if I already fold here, I'm gonna open and open 3x given the big blind, for the reason I just explained. 7-10 off, we fold, queen 7 off as well. Has the name, hello, this is NL25 Zoom. We're playing micro stakes today. We have pocket kings. And I guess we are going to place a 3-bet here, and let's do it. I quickly folded, unluckily. King 7 suited on table 2. We are going to raise. And I feel like my opponent expects a c-bet every single time, and I'm not going to disappoint him. Oops, I wanted to do something on table. I open folded ace-jack suited on table 1, but I was distracted. And I'm gonna check back the turn with no kicker and a pretty tricky turn. The river is fine, so to say. I guess I have to bluff catch, given he's an aggressive player. He might have some deuces, of course, or some strong hands. But at the same time, I have a decent hand, all in all, and he is aggressive once again. Let's see, I mean, if he bets 20, I'm gonna fold, but this size I'm gonna call. That's sweet. Table 1, we are gonna fold to this. 5-8 suited on table 1, table 2. It is normally a fold, but given the big blind, I'm probably gonna open it, especially given the button doesn't look very active. He only has 6% 3 bets, which obviously now he does, but that's sweet. F7 off, again a hand I would not open this hand normally from the button, but I could with a big blind. Recreational player, you will see me opening very different ranges and sizes depending on who is on the big blind. I try to be very aware of the table when I choose my opening range and size. Of course, I have a standard which is GTO based in a way, but when I play stakes this low, of course, I am deviating quite a bit from that. Table 2, we raise with a6 suited, and we flop a bottom pair, and versus a recreational player who limp cold, I'm gonna bet for thin value and especially protection, and he folds, which is fine. On table 1, we open ace-8 off, not a hand that we're going to call a 3-bet with. That's a nice flop. I would mix this one. On this mobile, we mix a lot, with unknowns at least. And I could bet, I could check sometimes. This time I am going with a bet, but check calling will be totally fine there. Okay. King 4, we fold the 10-4 offsuit. It is gonna be a fold as well. And Queen. We've seen him many times in this session, just we never get paid a dime. Let's see if this time we get some money or we lose some money. Well, queens usually you win or lose big. Let's see. If he 4-bets UTG, I guess we can also just call sometimes. That's an interesting flop. I would say versus an unknown at these stakes, we could also just check back a hand like this. We don't have a lot of value to get, especially when you block 2 queens. And I don't care about being balanced versus a complete unknown who might as well be a recreational player. The turn is pretty bad, obviously. Don't know if I can fold if he bets. We would have terrible blockers to call, so I probably would have folded. Once he checks, do we have some value? Still, I don't think we have much value. I'm gonna check back, and the river is nice. Now we can get value, maybe even from ace high. See what he does. If he checks, we are just going to bet big, hoping he bluff catch with, again, ace high, pocket jacks, stuff like this. He doesn't, so that's okay. On table 2, that's interesting because we bet the flop. This guy calls. It was a limpet pot. This guy is obviously a recreational player. This turn comes, of course, in his range he has a lot of ace high because I think he's gonna limp a lot of them and also call on the flop, obviously. We could do many things on the turn. I don't mind check calling. We have some showdown value, we have equity, and we let him bluff when he wants to bluff. So we check call. The river obviously is pretty bad, and we are gonna check and probably fold. He hit the jack, that's unfortunate. Table 1 instead, we called the flop. We called pre-flop on the big blind versus the cutoff with 7-9 suited. He just made it 2x, so I would raise a bit less than normally. Otherwise, this could have been also 3-bet. On this flop, I am going to check call and reevaluate on the turn what to do. We have a decent amount of turns, of nice turns, and this is one of them. I would not check raise though, because there are so many tough rivers to play that I don't want to build the pot too much right now. So I'm just gonna check call and hope for a blank river. It's not a blank river, but it is one that I think is going to bluff sometimes, so I don't think I'm gonna check fold. I'm gonna call here and let's see. And he was bluffing, so that's sweet. On table 2, we are just going to fold. If we knew that he is a recreational for sure, I would definitely consider raising in position to isolate myself with him, but we don't have this info yet. On table 1, this flop hits. This guy looks very tight passive. I'm gonna c-bet on the flop, hoping he just folds now. Might fire some high turn, but otherwise just gonna give up. And that's it. Quickly checks back on the turn. Looks like some draw possibly, but I'm just gonna check here. He might also have a 6, to be honest, when he checks quickly on the turn. It's tempting, but he may also have some ace high bluff because he doesn't know that he has showdown value, so let it be. Table 2, we open 3x given the big blind is a recreational. It's important to notice that I'm not opening 3x with strong hands and less with weaker hands when I have a recreational on the big blind. That would be very exploitable. I'm just opening 3x, my whole opening range. It's not a sizing that I want my regular opponent to exploit, so I'm just increasing the sizing because it's going to be increasingly profitable when the big blind calls. Doesn't matter what I have, so. We have King 8 suited and we do open. We get a very small 3-bet. Obviously, he is not a regular. We are gonna call in position. Very good price. Let's hope to hit something nice. Need to be careful here, because of course he might have a very strong hand. I will call the flop, but if he pots again on the turn, I'm just gonna fold probably. If he decreased the sizing, I would have called. Now when he shoves, I think he has too many times something like overpair and is scared for the connected board, and I just gonna fold. I don't think we're making money there versus a recreational player who min 3-bet us on the previous trade. Gonna fold here to the big donk, but while on table 2, we are just going to raise in position when the small blind limps, if he is a recreational player, and we're going to be very aggressive post-flop, because their limp calling range is gonna be usually quite weak. But let's see. The queen of diamond is fine to try sometimes to bluff with 8 high. See what he does. I don't know if he's sticky or not. Probably not. That's sweet. On table 1, we are going to call with 6-7 suited, and we flop a nice flush draw. Of course, this board is a board for the original raiser, especially if he's a regular, but this guy is not a regular. So I could consider check raising more versus a recreational. However, this guy only has 8% PFR, so I guess he's gonna hit this board more than the average recreational player. So I'm gonna play it with a bit more caution. I'm gonna check call, and if he checks back on the turn, I'm gonna bluff the river, of course, with 7 high. But let's see what he does. Okay, I think it's time to bluff. No need to make it huge. We're just trying to make him fold stuff like medium pocket pair, stuff like this, so no need to make overbets or anything crazy. I think it's really important to win those kind of spots, because we tend to just play them automatically and not care about them, but those small spots are really, really important for our win rate. Table 1, we 3-bet with Queen Jack suited, and we get the pot pre-flop, which is fine, I would say. King Jack and King 7. King Jack. I am going to just fold. Well, now we can squeeze actually, because it would be nice to isolate ourselves with the recreational player who called. I think the original is a regular, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, our target here is the recreational, and if you're regular 4-bets, we are just gonna fold, obviously. They both fold, which is sweet. Pocket 7s. Don't mind 3-betting versus an unknown. He might be recreational, and I would definitely want to play in position with him. And I don't want to call and get squeezed. Six, 7 suited on table 2. We can 3-bet this time, sometimes this hand. I really don't mind. Regular opens, we are going to 3-bet this. We need sometimes to do that. One of the biggest click people have at these stakes is to not 3-bet enough on the big blind. So I think it's important to do that, especially when you know that you are going to flop a 2-pair. And I don't mind check raising. He's gonna have sometimes pocket queens, of course, but he's also gonna have a lot of king queen, ace queen, stuff like this. And we have quite of an aggressive flow, so I think he may pay me if I raise here. There are also plenty of draws here. He calls, and not use, I'm gonna check, just check, let him bluff, let his range wide. I'm not gonna check fold on a blank river, of course. Okay, that's an interesting river. I think shoving here is an option. Even check raising is an option, but I don't think it's gonna team value bet enough, especially not value bet and call me. So given the flow we have, I think shoving here is okay. He's gonna block catch me sometimes with decent blockers when he has. So I'm going to try that. He's gonna have some traps, that's for sure, but I'm not check folding anyway, so just gonna check shove. I'm just gonna shove myself here. You know, when you're very aggressive, very aggressive, you can get out with a lot of more team value shoves and stuff like this. He saw me doing this thing with bluff many times, so I'm sure he will be tempted to call if he has a good bluff catcher. It would be a bit thin if you have no history with this guy, because I feel like they would overfold deep stack if you have no history with them. So maybe with them checking or betting small would be more ideal. He folded at the end, unluckily, and on table 1 instead I am going to bluff this guy, hoping he doesn't have a set. He does not. That's sweet. Pocket jacks on table 1. And ace 9 suited. Pocket jacks we are going to 3-bet. Of course we're calling if this guy shoves with 50 blinds. While if the original raiser 4-bets, I wouldn't be very happy. If he makes it huge, I could also fold. He's a recreational, he's not gonna have a very wide shoving range for sure, 4-betting range. If he makes it small, given we're also a bit deep stack, I think I have to call. I think the big blind is disconnected. Table 2, I am going to isolate in position versus a recreational player who raised. That's something also I suggest you do a lot. Unluckily, we get a cold call, which I think is a recreational at this point, and the flop is not really nice for us to fight for. We don't have decent blockers. He is probably gonna have a cold calling range, which might play well on this board, so I'm just gonna check. And if he checks back, I might want to bluff, but let's see. I'm not very optimistic on this for this hand. So the 7, if anything, doesn't change much. I have the feeling that I have to bluff queen high because you're gonna have a lot of ace high stuff like this. I'm not super happy, but I think it might be profitable. But I will have to continue on some rivers, because if he has any pair, like 5s, he's gonna call here. And the 3 is pretty bad, because the 3 is one of the biggest blanks here, and I don't think I'm gonna fold neither 5s here, so I'm just gonna let it go unluckily. So sick. But the river was one of the few rivers I would not bluff. Ace King, you see. I mean, it would be very nice to bluff on some rivers, but even that one would be difficult to fold for him. Ace 8 suited, we are going to open on the cutoff. We get a call. Now, versus a recreational player, I think we may have some value bet here to do, and that's what I will do. Because 6 is not nice, obviously. I'm gonna check back and re-evaluate on the river, but not a nice spot for sure. The 9 is not bad, actually. The 9 is a decent river. Do we have a value bet? No, I think it's too thin. I'm just gonna check back. We do raise with pocket 9s on table 1. We have now pocket 5s, and we are going to call because we have a recreational on the big blind, a recreational called. A sweet spot to call here. We have an interesting draw, but we shouldn't get carried away with this because, you know, it's pretty obvious draw and it's still a 4-way pot, which is not ideal for sure. This guy dunk bets pot. I'm inclined to fold, because yeah, we have a very nice hand in terms of an open-ended and a vector flush draw, but at the same time, when we improve our hand, we will be out of position first, and we are gonna it's gonna be very obvious what we have. Okay, that's the issue. So I'm just gonna fold. I don't think we have a lot of implied odds. On table 2, I bet call the flop, check check. The turn is not awesome because unless he's a maniac, I don't think we are ahead. He probably has some kind of jack which was raising on the flop to see where he is at. 6-7 suited. We do raise for isolation. This guy calls and we have a mid pair on a very throwy board, meaning we have some value to get from this guy. We are betting on the flop. He calls. The 3 is a decent card because nothing got there, and we still can get value from a decent amount of draws. Plus, if we check fold, we're still happy. So that's sweet. The king is a blank card, to be honest. Of course, we don't have a value bet. We have shown value. He has a lot of draws in his range, so let's check and hope. Yep. Quando c'è negozio questo canale nuovo, non è nuovo questo canale, è più vecchio dell'altro. Solo che era un po' che non lo tenevo attivo. Se guardi nel canale ce ne sono tanti di video vecchi. Table 1, we have queen 3 suited, and we are going to c-bet on the flop. I mean, we could also check here, it's not an issue. And on this turn, not much to do if not to check again. He bet the river. He can have any 2 cards. Up to this point, I think we have a decent bluff catcher for this price. We just call and hope, but unluckily he has an ace. Queen 5 is gonna be a fold. And I am going, guys, to sit out next big blind because I had some trouble starting the stream. I lost some time. And unluckily, this is going to be a short one, but don't worry, guys. You will see me a bit more on this channel. Something which I abandoned a bit, but I was, and I still am, pretty busy. But I think the time to make one stream time to time is, I'm going to have it. Table 1, table 2 actually, I'm going to c-bet. And with this turn, we have now some kind of draw. We have a weak kind of draw. Gonna check back and let's see what he does on the river. If he bets small, I don't mind raising as a bluff. Something like this. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna have a huge amount of super strong hands. Let's hope he doesn't have a jack. I don't think he's folding a jack, but he could fold a 9. Oh yeah, that's sweet. Table 1. Too big. Oh, we have a gut shouldn't overcard though, and a vector flush draw. I think we have to call the first one. And we hit our backdoor flush draw. Check raising, I would say, is an interesting line here, unless he pots or stuff like this. I mean, even if he does, would be interesting. Okay, I would check raise the river. It's gonna be. I don't think he has a flush almost ever, and he could have some team value bet. So I'm gonna check raise the river. Something big. Let's see if he can fold whatever he hits. Looks like a flush on my side. Will you fold, guy? Yes, you will. Oh yeah. That's how we like it. 10-9 suited. We are going to raise. Fold to 3-bet though. Ace 4. We are going to raise. King 10 suited. We just raise again. 3-bet in position. I think this guy's a recreational for what we've seen so far. So I don't mind raising wide in position. You already stack a bit, so might have considered calling a 4-bet. Now, versus a regular, this is a spot where I would see bet range, obviously. Versus a recreational, I think we may want to deviate from that and check a hand like this with showdown value and no need of protection. If he bets on the turn, we are gonna call, obviously. Wouldn't be happy to see a pot bet stuff like this, but I would say it would be nice. Should we value it here? We could. It's a bit thin. Maybe if I had a better kicker, I would, but I don't think we need to value bet this. Queen on the river, we block 10 jack, which is something. But again, I wouldn't value bet. I don't think we can value bet here. He bets. Can we ever call? It's gonna be a bit of a loose call here. We block 10 jack again, which is nice. We block king queen also, which is nice. I think ace queen he would probably bet on the turn. I think it could be a call. It's borderline as played. I mean, once we check twice, I think it's fine to call on the river, but it's gonna be close. He had pocket nines, which is legit. And that was it. Let's see the session results. I will show you now as well. Okay, we won 2 stacks. That was a sweet graph. Pa, pa, pa. Let me see if I can catch it. HM3, I'm gonna call it. And let's see if we can see that. Oh yeah. Okay, that was the session. So I would say a pretty sweet session as we like it. Let me resize it. So for the future, we have the good size here of the window. Voila. Voila. And voila. And voila. Okay. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. And I hope you like my channel and my contents. You can also see the past contents on this channel. If you like it, what you see now or what you see in the past videos, please subscribe. That's the best way to help the channel. Sorry if I've been away for a while. I have a lot of stuff to do. But I will try to make some live now. Live are not that much time consuming. I can find an hour time to time. So I think that it might be interesting. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you.